So in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to prompt AI to create beautiful product images. You'll learn the prompt engineering techniques that create results like this, and like this. Essentially what you see here are professional quality visuals that we're able to create in just minutes. So let's jump in. Okay, so first, let's think about this from a very zoomed out perspective. So when conceptualizing new product ideas, we're mostly interested in two things, the product and the environment. Now there's no one right way to approach this, but I'll share my preferred approach and then you can make modifications to fit your specific design preferences. So personally, I like starting with rough paper sketches. Now this allows me to define some of the essential geometry that I'm chasing. Also, if I'm designing an IoT device or some type of mechanical hardware, I also need to design based on the payload or electronics that are going to live within the hardware. So not only do I like to begin designing based on my preferred geometry, but I also like to have my first sketches be at least somewhat accurate in terms of proportions and space to work with for any inner components or electronics. So I can start sketching out something very rough on a piece of paper or a napkin, and then what I can do is I can just upload this for the product design AI to interpret and bring to life. So I'm in Lightroom here, and remember, if you don't have a Lightroom account, a link to Lightroom can be found below. So I'll just give this image as a reference here. And as you can see, I'm just sticking with the same deep sea submersible vehicle concept that I was working with in the last tutorial. So I'll hit this generate button and we'll see what happens. So as you can see, I have a very decent interpretation of this image on my screen right out of the gates. Essentially, I just took a napkin sketch, which I threw together in 30 seconds, and the AI transformed this into this beautiful product image that you see here, which I think is a pretty impressive result for very, very minimal effort. So as you can see here, it definitely got the shape that I created right. But the issue with this image is that it doesn't contain my precise vision for the product. So I imagine my product with slightly different lighting here, different detailing, different materials, and in a completely different color and finish. And this is where product prompting comes in. So in Lightroom here, you'll see this button for prompt optimization. Now this is an enormously powerful tool for product designers. So let's click on this button now to learn how this tool works. So first you'll see that I can select between environment, studio, or editorial images. So clicking on the environment tab will generate an image prompt that will showcase your product in its intended use environment. So a chair in a living room, a knife set in the kitchen, and a submarine, for example, in the ocean. Now clicking on the studio tab will generate an image of your product in a professionally lit product studio. And the editorial tab allows you to create images that are a little more story-driven and emotional. But for now, let's start by creating a professional studio image. So I'll click on this tab here. So here, as you can see, I can set my texture and finish. So I'm going to select matte grain from this dropdown, and then ABS plastic from this hard goods material dropdown. Now I'm doing this because I'm designing a hard goods product. Now, if I were designing a soft goods product like a shoe, I might set this dropdown to not applicable, and then set my soft goods material to whatever value instead. The same is true with furniture design. I could set these two drop downs to not applicable and then set my furniture material here. But for now, I'm just going to set this drop down back to ABS plastic. Also keep in mind that this will set the product to use a single material or a main material. However, many products use multiple materials. And if that's the case for your product, once you generate your AI prompt, you can really just zero in on the part of the prompt that outlines materials and then simply add any other additional details about materials in that section of the prompt. Okay, so I'm going to set my desired camera angle here to hero angle. I'll set my background to soft gray, and I'll set my lighting to beauty lighting. I'll then set my depth of field to shallow, and I'll set my style to minimalist. Now in this section, I'll just tell my AI what I'm trying to create. So I'll type here that I'm trying to create a one-person deep sea submersible vehicle, and then lastly, I'll just click on this button here. Now you'll see that I have my prompt down here. And this prompt contains all of my product material preferences as well as my studio environmental preferences. And this is really one of the key parts of product prompting. You need both of these elements to be isolated elements in order for you to be able to make more granular tweaks to your product. So you can think about it like this. You have these two parts to your prompt. One part controls the product, the other part controls the environment. So once you start generating images, you can make modifications to the prompt based on the parts of the generated image that you either like or don't like. So for example, if the lighting is a bit off, all you need to do is drill into the lighting parameter for the prompt. Really, nothing else will need to change. Okay, so let's just copy this prompt and then try our luck again. So I'll add my prompt here and then I'll upload my sketch again. Then I'll click on this button and just wait a few seconds for the image to generate. Okay, so as you can see, I have the image back now and it's much more aligned with my original idea. The lighting is better, the materials are right, the location is what I'm looking for as well. But let's imagine for a moment that we weren't entirely happy with this product generation. Let's imagine that it's pretty close, but we might want to change the background color to black, and perhaps we want more dramatic lighting. Let's also imagine that we want to try a different interpretation of the sub as well. So we don't mind if some of these small details change here. Okay, so to do that, let's jump back into our prompt assistant tool here. So from here, we'll change our background color to soft black. We'll also change our lighting to be hard and direct. Under the change to make to the sub, let's find the materials section, and then let's just add some other materials by saying that we want the front panel to be glass, for example. Then we'll generate the prompt again. Now, once the prompt is ready, we'll paste it over into the sidebar and we'll wait for our image again. Okay, so as you can see, we've now incorporated the changes to the background, to the lighting, as well as to the sub materials itself. Okay, so far, so good. But let's imagine that we don't want to create this sub in a studio, but instead we want to create this in its natural environment. So for that, let's click on the environmental tab. Now, the first thing you'll notice when we do that is that we now have new drop-down options available to us. Here now we can set the weather, the time of day, as well as lighting. But now, rather than having studio lighting options, we have environmental lighting options. So here I'll set my preferred time of day, weather, and lighting preferences. And then again, I'll get the AI assistant to help me generate the prompt again. Okay, so with this new prompt, I'll jump back over into the sidebar, I'll paste the prompt here, and then I'll generate my image again. And as you can see, we have this sub placed in its natural environment. What I strongly suggest doing when playing around with these product image prompting tools is to first generate your product using the Studio tab. Get your product looking exactly how you want. When you get the product very close to looking how you want, download the image and then upload it to the image generator to clean up any small details. This allows you to zero in and target the parts of the image that you want to modify. So for example, let's go back to one of our studio images that we created previously. So let's imagine that I love this image, but I just want to make one small tweak to the front panel here. So I could download this image and then upload it to the image generator. And then from here, I can tell the AI to keep the image exactly the same and only change the front panel. I'll simply type in my desired change right here. I'll just say that I want a small lookout window, and then I'll generate my image again. Okay, perfect. This product image is now exactly how I want it. And now with this image, I can go and create environmental images because now my product will remain consistent across environments because I can always upload this image as my image reference. Okay, so that is how we prompt product images into existence in a controlled way within Lightloop. Today we focused on this napkin sketch to image model, but the same principles apply to these other models as well. Now, the reason why I don't think it's smart to start product ideation work using the video models is because video models are more expensive, and during early product ideation, you often throw a lot of your early design work out. So by using cheaper image models, you can refine and perfect your work before using them as your reference images in these video models. So for example, now that I have this sub image created, I can now click on this image to video model, upload my sub, and then prompt the AI video model to place this sub in its natural environment. And the final result I get looks something like this. Also, one last really important note here. Within Lightloop, anytime you create a new image or video, the prompt to create that image or video will be saved within the project or variation itself. So you can just click on edit here, for example, and then click on view prompt to view the prompt that was used to create this image. Now, these prompts can be used as a very solid jumping off point to create similar images within your portfolio. So I hope you found this tutorial helpful. And remember, if you want to get access to these AI product image and video generation tools, a link to Lightloop can be found below. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to stay up to date on the latest news in the world of product design. So that's all I have for you. Thanks for stopping by.